Are you constantly saying yes when you're secretly screaming no? You're not alone. Welcome to episode 9 of Not Just Moms, the podcast that helps you reclaim your time, energy, and identity beyond motherhood. I'm your host, Stephanie No, life and mindset coach, and I get it because I'm a mom who also strives for big goals. From a young age, many women are conditioned to be caretakers and nurturers. It's woven into everything, our cultural narrative, from childhood stories to societal expectations. Growing up in an Asian American household, this was strongly reinforced. I remember being taught to prioritize others, how to ask if they want a drink, how to cut fruit and pass it out, how to serve birthday cake to the guests. Even at a young age, I noticed that my sister and I were expected to do this, while my brother was not. I specifically recall asking my mom why Oppa didn't have to do it, but her response was very nonchalant, like, he's a boy. In immigrant households with traditional values, this message often stemmed from practical realities. Historically, women had limited power and options, while men were the primary financial providers. Sons carried on the family name, and men provided for the family. So these roles were about survival and the family's well-being. However, fast forward to today, it is 2025. We have grown up and we have become ambitious women and moms. We're breaking barriers, building businesses, leading teams, and raising families. Yet that old programming, that ingrained tendency to put everyone else first, can hold us back. When you've consumed this message your whole life, you start to sacrifice your own needs, your own wants, and as such, your own identity. This story about my daughter perfectly illustrates how this plays out even today. So while we were on vacation, I took the kids to a custom jewelry spot, and they were excited, and I thought it would just be a fun memory and souvenir. But what happened next highlights a challenge that many of us face. So I stepped away to care for the baby, leaving my oldest with my husband to get her bracelet sized. And the employee would ask how tight or loose she wanted it and adjusted it accordingly. However, my daughter said it was still too loose. And in the end, the employee hastily cut it, making it too tight. I didn't realize there was a problem until the next day. My daughter, like me, is pretty particular. She knows what she likes and dislikes, but struggles to express it because she doesn't want to feel bad or make someone else feel bad. So when I asked if she liked the fit, she shook her head, no. And I asked, why didn't you say anything? Her response was, I felt bad. I didn't want her to have to redo it. In that moment, she prioritized the employee's comfort over her own satisfaction. To be fair, the employee wasn't the most accommodating, but the larger issue is this. My daughter silenced her own needs and wants. As I reflected on this, I shared a different scenario with her. What if you were at Target buying purple shoes, and at the register they handed you pink shoes? She said, what? That's weird. I would tell them. Exactly, I explained. But with the bracelet, you accepted the pink shoes, the wrong fit, without speaking up. Now, days later, she's still frustrated, while the employee is still likely unaware of the problem. The key takeaway here is that, spoiler alert, it isn't actually about the worker or the bracelet. It was about my daughter's thoughts, her belief that her needs were less important, that speaking up would cause trouble. As a modern Asian mom, I strive to balance tradition with empowering my daughters to own their voices. Yet, even with conscious effort, the message that women are nurturers or caretakers, that we should prioritize others' feelings, still gets absorbed. Ladies, how often does this happen to you? You let things slide. You accept the pink shoes because you don't want to cause a fuss, only to have it eat away at you later. How often do you get pulled away from your own big goals, your own vision, because you're saying yes to everyone else's demands? This people pleasing trap, the tendency to sacrifice your needs, your time, your energy, your very identity, has to stop. For ambitious women, the cost is even higher. We're not just sacrificing our sanity, we're sacrificing our potential, our ability to make our own unique contribution to the world. So, why do we do this? There are four main reasons. Number one, guilt. We feel bad saying no. We worry we'll disappoint others. Number two, fear of conflict. Saying yes seems easier in the short term. We want to avoid the drama or the difficult conversation. Number three, seeking approval. We want to be liked. We tie our self-worth to being seen as helpful and caring. Number four, fear of losing opportunities. Ambitious women often worry that setting boundaries will damage their career, their business relationships, or their networking opportunities. But this cost is too high. People pleasing leads to burnout, resentment, and feeling invisible. You lose sight of your own vision, your own priorities, your own dreams, and more crucially, you risk modeling this behavior to your children, especially your daughters, hindering their ability to pursue their ambitions and live a life that they actually want to live. The good news is this is a learned behavior, and we can unlearn it. We can shift from people pleasing to powerful, but it starts with self-awareness. We need to recognize the patterns, the thoughts, and the situations that trigger our people-pleasing tendencies. First off, let's start with boundaries. What exactly are they? In simple terms, boundaries are the limits you set in relationships. They define what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. More specifically, boundaries are guidelines that define you and other people. They establish what behavior is acceptable towards you, what you are responsible for, what you are not responsible for. Think of boundaries as an act of self-respect. They are the lines you draw to protect your physical, emotional, and mental space. They're about maintaining your integrity, honoring your needs, and pursuing your goals without being overwhelmed, taken advantage of, or losing yourself in the process. These boundaries are not selfish. They're essential for healthy, sustainable relationships. They're the clear limits we communicate to others about how we expect to be treated. They foster mutual respect, prevent resentment, promote authentic connection, and allow us to show up fully in our lives as mothers, as partners, as professionals, as ourselves, without sacrificing our well-being. So now you're wondering, how do we break free from the people-pleasing and step into our power? Here are some strategies that have worked for me and my clients. Number one, spot the patterns and your thoughts. This is where self-awareness becomes crucial. Notice when you start to people please. Is it with certain people, like your boss, your in-laws, that demanding client? Is it in particular situations, at work, at family gatherings, when networking? Then go a step further. Become aware of your thoughts in those moments. What are you telling yourself in that moment? I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to disappoint them. They'll be angry if I say no. I have to do this or they won't like me. These thoughts are the root of the problem. They're the stories we tell ourselves that keep us trapped in people pleasing. Number two, start with baby steps. Learn how to say no. This is where we start to reclaim our power. Start practicing this small but mighty word. When I first put my career on pause to care for my children and manage our household, I felt a huge pressure to say yes to everything. It's ironic. When I was working, I'd say yes to extra things just to prove to myself to show how committed of a mother I was despite having a career. Then, when I wasn't working, I felt like I had to say yes to everything because I didn't have the excuse of having a job. Let me say this one time, loud and clear. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm going to repeat this because this should be some of your mottos for the next year. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. You need to ask yourself honestly, do I want this? Does this align with my priorities? Does this energize me or drain me? If the answer is not a hell yeah, then it's a no. Remember, ambitious women, your time, your energy, and your focus are your most valuable assets. Saying no is how you protect those assets and invest them in what truly matters. Number 3, schedule your priorities first and treat them as non-negotiable. Ambitious women, we are the masters of scheduling. We juggle appointments, meetings, kid activities, deadlines, but often we schedule ourselves last. A date night if we can, a girls' night if time allows, working on our passion project when everything else is done. This is a recipe for burnout and resentment. It sends the message to ourselves and others that our needs are optional. Instead, start scheduling the fun stuff, the self-care, the goal-oriented activities, your non-negotiables first. You want a date night? Book that Saturday. You need a midweek girls' night to recharge? Block out that Wednesday night. You're building a side hustle? Schedule dedicated time in your calendar, just like you would a client meeting. Then when someone asks you to help with a PTA or pick up an extra shift or take on another project, you can honestly look at your calendar and say, no, I have a prior engagement. This isn't about being rigid or inflexible. It's about honoring your needs, your goals, your dreams with the same commitment you give to your family, your career, and everyone else in your life. It's about recognizing that you are a priority. And lastly, number 4, master the art of boundaries and communicate them clearly. I used to think boundaries were really mean, that they were about controlling others or being demanding, and I hated it. But since then, I've learned that the opposite is true. Boundaries are the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for others. They're not about changing other people. They're about clearly communicating your limits, your needs, your expectations. They make it simple and clear what will work for you and what won't, protecting your time, your energy, your emotional well-being, and your relationships. And if someone consistently cannot respect your boundaries, it may be time to reevaluate that relationship. Ask yourself, is this person truly worth having in my life if they cannot respect my fundamental needs and my right to self-care? This shift of owning your needs and stepping into your power isn't just about saying no. It's about consciously saying yes to yourself. It's about choosing yourself not as an act of selfishness, but as an act of self-preservation and self-leadership. When you own your needs, when you prioritize your well-being, you increase your energy and focus. You're no longer drained by resentment, by the constant push and pull of overcommitment. You have more energy to invest in your goals, your passions, and your loved ones. You strengthen your relationships. Healthy boundaries lead to more authentic, more respectful, and more fulfilling connections. People know where they stand, and you show them how you expect to be treated. You also become a powerful role model. You demonstrate to your children, especially your daughters, how to value themselves, how to set healthy limits, and how to pursue their ambitions without sacrificing their well being. You teach them that it's possible to be both successful and self respecting. You accelerate your success by prioritizing your goals, your vision, and your non negotiables. You make focused progress and achieve more. You become more efficient, more effective, and more impactful in your work and in your life. Ambitious women, owning your needs is not selfish, it's strategic. It's how you create a sustainable path to success, fulfillment, and lasting impact. It's how you lead yourself, your family, and your community with power, grace, and authenticity. So let's recap. Today, we've covered how to shift from people pleasing to powerful by recognizing the patterns and the underlying thoughts that drive the people pleasing behavior. Understanding the crucial importance of setting clear, healthy boundaries, implementing practical, actionable strategies to say no, prioritize your needs, and schedule your life in a way that honors your goals. Reframing self-care and boundary setting not as luxuries, but as essential acts of self-leadership, self-respect, and empowerment. I want to leave you with this. You are not responsible for everyone else's happiness. Your ambition, your goals, and your well being are not negotiable. You deserve to have your needs met. You deserve to pursue your dreams without sacrificing yourself in the process. Your challenge this week is to identify one area where you've been consistently people pleasing. Set one small, clear boundary in that area with a partner, family member, or colleague, or even with yourself, and notice how it feels. Pay attention to any resistance that comes up and remind yourself that you are worth it. Ambitious ladies, let's step into our power. Own your needs and watch how your life, your relationships, and your impact transform. Until next time, I hope you live your life with intention and give yourself that permission to say no to the things that don't align with your priorities or your vision for your life. Remember to share this episode with a girlfriend who needs this friendly reminder. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.